Covalent or molecular bonds are molecules or compounds that are bonded together through the sharing of their electrons. We know that elements and compounds are happy when they have full valence shells. Covalent bonds create full valence shells by sharing electrons. These types of bonds can be represented by its name, its chemical formula, a straight line diagram, a Lewis dot diagram, or a dot and cross diagram. For example, let's take hydrogen. The name is hydrogen. Its chemical formula is H2. The straight line diagram would be this. This line represents the sharing of the two electrons between the two hydrogen atoms. And when these two hydrogen atoms combine, this line represents two electrons. When they combine, they get a full valence shell. So when they combine, they get two, and that makes them happy. In the Lewis dot diagram, we would represent hydrogen as this. Each hydrogen atom has one electron, which is the dot above them, and when they bond, they share them between the two of them, and that makes them have a full valence shell, and they're happy. And same thing with the dot and cross diagram. We have two hydrogens. The dot represents the electron for this hydrogen, and the cross represents the electron for this hydrogen when they bond, and that makes it have a full valence shell and makes it happy like all the others. Here's another example. Oxygen. The chemical formula would be O2, and the straight line diagram would be this. There are two lines instead of one because oxygen shares 4 electrons instead of just 2. You can see here that's in group 16, which means that there's 6 valence electrons in its outer shell. We need 2 more to make it happy because the second shell, which is the shell it's in, can have a total of 8 electrons. This is the Lewis dot diagram. You can see that this oxygen has 6 electrons, and this oxygen has 6 electrons. But when they combine so that each one has, when they're shared, has 8 electrons. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is a double bond. Instead of just sharing 2 electrons, they're sharing 4. This is the dot and cross diagram. You can see that there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 electrons for the first oxygen and 6 electrons for the second oxygen. When they come together, when they bond, you can see that they share 4 electrons. 2 from this oxygen and 2 from this oxygen. A common covalent bond and one that shares 2 different elements is water, or H2O. The straight line diagram would be this because there's 1 oxygen and 2 hydrogens. You see these lines represent the 2 electrons that they share. You can see that more clearly in the Lewis dot diagram. Each hydrogen has 1 electron, and each oxygen has 6 electrons, as you can see in the group 16. 6 valence electrons. When they combine, the hydrogens share their electron with the oxygen, which makes and the other hydrogen shares their electron with the oxygen, which makes the oxygen have 8 valence electrons, so the oxygen is happy. And each hydrogen has 2 valence electrons, which makes the hydrogen happy as well. One other way you can see that is in the dot and cross diagram. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 dots representing the oxygen, and one cross representing each hydrogen. You can see that when they combine and when they bond, they have 2 valence electrons for the hydrogen, 2 valence electrons for the hydrogen, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 valence electrons for the oxygen. And they're happy. One last quick example is ammonia, the chemical formula being NH3, and the straight line diagram being 1 nitrogen and 3 hydrogens. Each line again represents 2 electrons, but together you can see that they share 6 electrons. This is better represented in the Lewis dot diagram. Each hydrogen has 1 electron, and the nitrogen, as you can see here, has 5. When they combine, the nitrogen has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, which makes it happy because its valence shell is complete, and the hydrogen has 1, 2, the other hydrogen has 1, 2, and the third hydrogen has 1, 2, and that means all of those hydrogens' valence shells are complete, so they're happy as well. You can see that again in the dot and cross diagram. The nitrogen has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 electrons, but when combined, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and each hydrogen, when combined with the nitrogen, has 1, 2, the other hydrogen 1, 2, and the third hydrogen 1, 2, which makes it happy. A quick recap. There are 5 different ways to express covalent or molecular bonds: by their name, by their chemical formula, by a straight line diagram, a Lewis dot diagram, or a dot and cross diagram.
Bring me